I use it like a fishing pole, catch 'em like tilapia. They be getting naughty, call 'em kamikaze. Crazy versus hit melody, then we messing with they bodies. We be in the lobby, dodging paparazzi. Chicks that's acting snobby, we can show 'em how to party. You gotta love the fans, they be in a trance. OMG is what she saying, cause the money in my pants. Break a lot of chicks, cause they know I got the fix. Yeah, I'm reppin' Louis Mo, but my car look like the Knicks. And the chicks, they be jockin', cause they know we be on top. And you should see they mouths dropping there since we started poppin'. They like
it's your boy, man, yeah. See your boy Glide, man, yeah. I be high as cane. Brand new summer rain. Standing out so strange. Yeah, I be standing out. Watch your hands, watch your mouth. Yeah, I got much clout. 10 years I've been running around. Foreign clothes, foreign cars. They think I'm a foreigner. What you know about them stars? Yeah, that be stunning hard. Throwing money, sipping bars. Make you say, oh my God. Steady stacking currency. Got these haters scared of me. Poster words poppin', see. I ain't Murph, but you see me. Magazines and television, MTV like I'm living. Skating on them flip-flops. Your bill got that Botox. Paint like some club rock. Smashing on the whole block.
But we had one more important sound we wanted you to hear.
OMG, this beat is bubble yum. I'm chewing on this bubble gum. I'm blowing bubbles coming up. Yep, every day I'm hustling. Trust I got my gun up on my waist just like a cummerbund. Star boys don't mess with second place. We coming number one. Chicks go nuts when we show up. Everywhere they notice us. Pink is blanking, chains hanging, candy paint up on the truck. True religion, action sagging, matching my Ed-hearted chucks. Gucci rag flagging, hanging out of my back pocket tuck. A lot of cats be rapping, yapping, but they not as bad as us. We just leave them flabbergasted while we brag and grab our nuts. We fire like that cannabis, wild like the animals. When we in town, we shut it down. You hear the crowd chanting like
Maserati, it's foreign like Miyagi. I use it like a fishing pole, catch 'em like tilapia. They be getting naughty, call 'em kamikaze. Crazy versus hit melody, then we messing with they bodies. We be in the lobby, dodging paparazzi. Chicks that's acting snobby, we can show 'em how to party. You gotta love the fans, they be in a trance. OMG is what she saying, cause the money in my pants. Break a lot of chicks, cause they know I got the fix. Yeah, I'm reppin' Louis Mo, but my car look like the Knicks. And the chicks, they be jockin', cause they know we be on top. And you should see they mouths dropping there since we started poppin'. They like
It's your boy, man, yeah. See your boy Glide, man, yeah. I be high as cane. Brand new summer rain. Standing out so strange. Yeah, I be standing out. Watch your hands, watch your mouth. Yeah, I got much clout. 10 years I've been running around. Foreign clothes, foreign cars. They think I'm a foreigner. What you know about them stars? Yeah, that be stunning hard. Throwing money, sipping bars. Make you say, oh my God, steady stacking currency. Got these haters scared of me. Poster words poppin', see. I ain't Murph, but you see me. Magazines and television, MTV like how I'm living. Skating on them flip-flops. Chevelle got that Botox. Paint like some club rock. Smashing on the whole block.
But we had one more important sound we wanted you to hear.
OMG, this beat is bubble yum. I'm chewing on this bubble gum. I'm blowing bubbles coming up. Yep, every day I'm hustling. Trust I got my gun up on my waist just like a cummerbund. Star boys don't mess with second place. We coming number one. Chicks go nuts when we show up. Everywhere they notice us. Pink is blanking, chains hanging, candy paint up on the truck. True religion, action sagging, matching my Ed Hardy chucks. Gucci rag flagging, hanging out of my back pocket tuck. A lot of cats be rapping, yapping, but they not as bad as us. We just leave them flabbergasted while we brag and grab our nuts. We fire like that cannabis, wild like the animals. When we in town, we shut it down. You hear the crowd chanting like
Guys, can you hear me? We got action. Do we got action? Can y'all hear me? Let me see. Disable microphone. Let's see. Should be live. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? I done turned the damn mic off. Hey, hey, if we talking about sound and we talking about frequency, y'all can't even hear me. Can you hear me right now? So I can't hear me right now. Shucks. How about a 5? Can y'all hear me? I done turned the damn mic off. Hey. Hey, if we talk about sound, we talking about frequency, y'all can't even hear me. Can you hear me right now? I can't hear you right now. Y'all good? Y'all can hear me? Man, it's a serious delay right now. Let me check something though. Right now, let me check something though. Okay, we good now. We good. I got it. All right, guys. I apologize. Y'all see this live stuff is still brand new for me. Okay. Now I done disappeared and went blurry on folks. And one thing is another. Powers that be messing with me. Okay. All right, guys. So, how's everybody doing first and foremost? Everybody doing all right? I'll wait till folks come in here. What's up here? We got any brave souls that's gonna come on today. I wonder that every time we get on live, are we gonna have a brave soul that's gonna show up? Y'all got a delay. On the side, we Gucci over here. So yeah. Okay. Turn this down. All right. So, what we were talking about today, guys, is frequency. All right, frequency, sound, vibration. If y'all seen some of my videos from the past, we've discussed this in somewhat great depth and detail, like maybe not so much as it pertains to just like focusing in on frequency and the importance or the significance of that. I tell y'all all the time, you have to understand, if you don't already, that we are spirits, we are souls first and foremost, that operate this physical vessel. Okay, understand that. Okay, just like you have certain senses that you deal with, from feeling, from touch, from hearing, okay, with your ears, also seeing with your eyes, and smelling with your nose. Okay, we're talking about your 5 senses, but I always tell you guys, your 6th sense is your most important sense, right? Your 6th sense, you're welcome, Big Daddy Guru. Your 6th sense is your most important sense, guys. And that is exactly why they don't want you to have it. Okay. What we have to understand, man, is if you want to take it from a biblical aspect, you say, well, God said he created us in the likeness of him. Okay. So what is the likeness of him? What do we have that makes us in the likeness of God? You have to think about that. That's something you have to strongly consider. Like, what are we really talking about here? How am I like God? How am I made in the likeness of him? I'm made in his image. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a pretty pretty assertive term. And when you say the likeness of God or like God, okay, people like, oh, I know you got people that say we're gods, okay, and you got people that say we're not God, we're just his children or whatnot. But either way, however you want to look at it, we're made in the likeness of him. So in the likeness of him, God has power. God is omnipresent, right? God is the creator of all things. Okay. With God, you're talking about basically spirit form only, right? God is not walking around in a vessel. We understand that, right? But if God is spirit form only, that means that God operates in several different ways, right? You have to talk about telepathy. You have to talk about energy. You're talking about frequency, and you're talking about consciousness. Okay, these are different ways that God functions. That's why when people talk about certain things, man, they got this physical impression of God and everything else. Like everything as it focuses around anything that pertains to God, you have to look at from a spiritual aspect. Okay, a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people don't do that, and they associate all this physical stuff with God and the physical part of us. But that's kind of relegating yourself down to just this 3D realm. Okay, the realm that God does not exist on. Okay, now operating on this 3D realm, you have to be a physical vessel, but that requires you to use your physical senses, if that makes sense, right? Look at it from this aspect. If you was to lose your whole vessel right now, how would you hear if you don't have the ears or the functionality of the ear and the eardrum, like all that stuff that's created in there? That makes sense. If you don't have your retinas and what they call corona, can't think what they call, but the different components of the eye. Okay, if you didn't have those things, how would you see? You see what I'm saying? If you didn't have these different senses and stuff, or sensors like in your fingers, these nerve endings and things, how would you feel? Okay, so if all this stuff is ripped away from you, how do you operate? If you don't have these legs, how do you walk? How do you move about? Right? If you don't have your nose, you don't have your lungs, stuff, how do you breathe? But you doing all this, and you have to have all this stuff in order to operate on the physical realm, right? So what things must you have to be able to operate on the spiritual realm? And I'm not just talking about the ability to transcend into spirit form. I'm talking about what different functions or motor functions, or what we would consider physical functions. What things would you have in order to be able to be a functioning spirit? That makes sense. Does that make sense, guys? So understand this, man. If we were spiritual beings first, man, then we still operate off these different spiritual elements that may not exist or may not be explained to us in any degree for us to understand. It's not taught to us in any form of grade school or college. It's not taught to us. Okay. I told you I just did a video before where I was showing you the article, and may pull it up. I don't know, because I don't know if we want to go in that direction. But I was showing you the article where the girl was talking about psychedelics and stuff, right? They were talking about the difference between the dream state and death, and the different secretions and stuff that's released in the brain at the moment of death and at the moment of sleep state, and REM and everything, rapid eye movement, that indicates that you're going into that dream state. And it's similar to death. You have what's it called? It's a certain hormone that's released in the brain at death. Is a certain hormone. DMT is released. I believe that's released at the point of dream state. Okay, and then you have another different release that's going on at the point of death. But they also you also understand that there's a like electric component to this. Like in the brain, there's like electric activity at the point of death. There's like a jolt, like of lightning, like charges through your brain or whatever. which is what essentially activates an ascension or a release of the spirit or the soul at that time. Okay. Now, it's not explained to you in any detail in any part of our educational system, and it's not going to be explained to you because they don't want you to know this stuff. But you can assure yourself that this is part of our spiritual evolution. When we leave from physical form, we go back to spiritual form. Okay. Now, you're probably asking why. Why are you saying all this? What are you going with? Where are you going with this? Okay. So there are certain things that even as a physical being, we're still affected by. Our spirit is still affected by while in the physical body. You understand that? Like certain things that you deal with, certain emotions and stuff that you might encounter while you're having this physical experience is powered by spiritual connections or spiritual senses that may affect you as well on the physical realm. Now talk about this. We start talking about frequency. Okay, frequency is pretty much like it's almost like it's an invisible element that, as a physical being, it may not seem like it matters much or affects us, but it does affect us. It affects our spirit. Okay, it affects our soul. It gives us somewhat like, okay, on the physical realm, what would we relate it to or equate it to? Like a food or like a water, like feeding your soul. Same thing. You know, you feed your human vessel, but you also got to feed your spirit, right? You feed your spirit, you feed your soul. Now, if you think about this, if you're eating bad, what does that do to your physical vessel? It destroys it, right? It makes it hard for you to move around. It makes you out of shape. Makes you lack of energy, right? Even your physical appearance might start to look a bit different if you're eating wrong, okay? Which is something they do. They make sure you eat wrong on the physical realm, right? Start thinking about that. Like, oh, I think they make me eat wrong on the physical realm, and it be messing me up. But I'm a spiritual being first, so they feeding you messed up here to make sure that they mess you up physically. What do you think they doing to you on the spiritual level? Okay. And I just told you how certain things on the spiritual level affect you on the physical level, and certain things on the physical level affect you on the spiritual level. You see that there's a relationship there. Okay. Like I told you, and I almost want to play it, but I'll be kind of leery about it, man. But a lot of y'all seen it because I've talked about this before, and we go in depth about how the cult and those people that are in that those secret groups or whatnot, how they've went out their way to suppress information as it pertains to our spiritual power, spiritual abilities, and they've done things to make sure that they shut it down, right? This was like something that they made sure that they had to do, okay? Because they didn't want you to be able to operate in the spiritual realm or operate with your spiritual senses. So they took it upon themselves to make sure that they cut it off. Now, this is where we get into, some murky water, because I've had people saying stuff like, yo, Net, you teaching new age religion, you telling people to go against God. Hey, look here, man. I've never told anybody to go against God, Jesus. I've never said anything like that. In fact, I believe that there is a correlation and a connection between the two that we very well may need. It may not come in exactly the same type of context that most people might think, but there is some good I would say some good information and some good methods that should be applied as it relates to the Bible and God, Jesus, and and Christianity to some degree, but there's also been some misconceptions and some misinterpretations, which is what we're discussing right now. I've talked to y'all in great depth about that, about heaven and hell and stuff like that, depending on the frequency you at. Like frequency you at might dictate what you seeing. Like you might be in the heaven, you might be in the hell, but also if you're not at a certain frequency, it'll have an effect. So like I said, physically they want to do stuff to you to make sure that you're unable to connect to the source. So like I said, with the cult members and everything, Rudolf Steiner put out that piece where he said, hey, we're going to make sure that we cut them off from spirituality. Okay, well, why did they say they want to cut you off from spirituality? And I'm sitting here, I'm telling you right now, God is spirit, right? So that's common sense. If they cutting me off from spirituality and God is spirit, then who are they cutting me off from? Or what are they cutting me off from? That makes sense. Okay, so they took it upon themselves with hidden knowledge, hidden information that you're not supposed to know nothing about, and they chose or they elected to cut you off from it. They didn't ask you, hey, do you mind if we turn the channel? Like, think about that. If you watching TV, remember back there you had them dials, or you had to turn the knob. Some of y'all was old enough where you had like one of these dials. You had to turn, and it would change the channel. How many of y'all remember TV like that? Some of y'all, if you don't remember TV or change your channel like that, then you need to leave live right now because you're too young to be up in here. If you didn't have to, hey guys, if you didn't have to turn your channel on your TV like this at no point in your life, you're too young. Get your ass up out of here. Get your young ass out of here. Hey, I'm just messing with some of y'all, man. But no, realistically, how many like you might have been watching a show or something? Let me fix this real quick for you guys. Okay, so you might have been watching a show or something, and somebody just came in and just start changing your dial, and then you jump up like, "Hey, I was watching the Smurfs," right? And you jump up. Let me get this. Can y'all see me? Hold on. Let me lose my message here, man. This thing be acting up. All right, guys. I think it's cool. Dang. Hold on, man. Hold on. I gotta get this right on with y'all to be. Okay, I think we good. This thing is messed up. Every now and again, this dang camera starts acting up on me. I think it is right now. Hold on, guys. Let me fix the camera real quick. I'll come right back. Hold on. All right, that's cool. I think that's cool. Okay, guys. So, like I said, you'll be watching something and somebody just come in and change the dial. Okay, they didn't turn the TV and you watching something. You know, first thing you gonna do, you gonna jump up like, hey, why you change my channel, man? I was watching the Smurfs. You jump up, you trying to change the channel, you trying to get it back, on the channel you was watching, right? But what if you can't find it? You know how them channels used to be all staticky and stuff. You couldn't find your channel. So you'd be mad as hell. You'd be ready to turn around, choke your little sister out, right? But no, like that's essentially what they've done. They took it upon themselves and decided they were going to change your channel as far as where you getting information, what you receiving. And it wasn't a choice. It wasn't an option. They didn't ask. Okay. And most people don't know they even changed their channel. You see what I'm saying? Hear what I just said, man. Most people don't understand that they changed their channel. They don't even have a clue. Why? Because nobody told them that. Nobody told them that they was changing their channel. They just changed it and said, guess what? We don't think you should be watching that. You see what I'm saying? We don't think you should be on that channel. We don't think that programming is appropriate for you. How do y'all feel about that? Like, you let somebody change your channel physically, or you wouldn't let nobody change your channel physically. If somebody change your channel, you're going to get upset. You're going to grab the remote and you're going to change it back. So if somebody changed your channel spiritually, what you going to do? What you going to do? You going to leave it on that channel, or are you going to get up and you going to raise hell and you going to change it back? What are you going to do? That's a question you got to ask, man. Wow. First of all, why would they want to change my channel? Why are they messing with my channel? Like, I didn't ask them. So, like I told you guys and I showed you, they've done stuff at birth to change your channel. Okay. So, and the reason I'm telling you this, because you got to put it all together so you can understand where I'm coming from. They changed your channel. Okay. And we understand that was something that they understood about prior to us even coming into that sacred knowledge. Now, we're going to look at some things today that's going to kind of shed some light on it. But what I always tell you guys is be able to be connected, be able to control your own dial, basically. If you don't want to hear a message, like people don't know that it's hard to hear a message, guys, when you don't have a TV. Also, right? It's hard to. So if you haven't got to a position where you understand that they've tinkered with you or tinkered with us, okay, and that you are being cut off from the source so that they can reprogram you by putting it on a channel. That's why they hand you down the TV and they send in the programming, okay, not just physically, but also spiritually. Okay, and how they do that on the physical realm, you might be seeing stuff. They send subconscious thoughts or things to your mind subconsciously, but they also messing with you spiritually through the stuff that they're doing by blocking that so that you can't get the information or hear from the source that you really need to hear from, which is God himself, who created the channel for you to have so he can contact you and talk to you. So I'd be like, some people, you know, good and well, they ain't talking to God. And I'm not trying to judge anybody, but you can see how some people move, stuff they do that they're not exactly on that page, but they'll claim, you know, I go to church, this, that, and other. Going to church don't make you a righteous person. It don't mean you walk in a righteous walk. You know, just like got so much crap going on in the Vatican and all that stuff, man. You got these kids in these Catholic churches and stuff getting molested. And this stuff is happening on holy ground by people or their peers or elders that they look up to, they respect, that hold high positions in these different churches and things like that. So people can be claiming righteousness and everything else and be the most crooked and most evilest people that you'll ever meet in your lifetime. Those are facts. Those are facts, guys. But the thing is, what I was alluding to is the whole part about physically they've done stuff not only to hurt you, like as far as your body and your health, your decline in your health, but also they put stuff in your system that will directly affect your channel, okay? So that you can't operate as a spiritual being. So you won't have the power, you won't feel the energy, you won't be able to connect the way that you need to, and you won't be able to hear. So all your senses as it relates to you as a spiritual being have been shut off. So you don't have no understanding or no clue how that works. But then at the same time, they manipulate things to affect you. We made a big deal about them putting these antennas out. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They put all these antennas out everywhere, and these different frequencies that's being sent out as well. Okay, you got frequency coming through the music, you got frequency coming through the programming. Okay, you got frequency that's being emitted through a lot of stuff that we don't really pay much attention to, we don't know much about, but it's happening. Okay, you may not visually, frequency is something you don't visually see, but like I tell you all the time, as a spiritual being, these are the things that you operate off of. So if you're able to feed your spiritual with the right frequency, if you're on the right frequency, it's going to affect you physically. Just like I tell you, the physical stuff that you do can affect you spiritually. Spiritual stuff that you do, the stuff that coincides with your spiritual senses, can affect you physically. Okay. Now, how that works, you look at it like this. Okay. Some of you may not know, but this is proven that frequency has the ability to heal. Okay, it has the ability to heal. It has the ability to raise your vibration. Okay, we talk about raising vibrations, raising to a point where you're able to have a higher level of consciousness. Okay, where we talk about being able to ascend. Understand this, guys, and I tell you this all the time. There are certain things as it relates to the Bible that is very well misinterpreted. And the reason I say that is certain components as it relates to us and our ascension to the upper dimensions. Okay, as we know it is heaven, people heaven and hell, whatever. You have to be able to go into spirit form to be able to do that, right? And one of the ways that you are able to go into spiritual form or be able to ascend to those upper dimensions is being able to vibrate high. Vibrate high, it coincides with what you put in your spirit. What are you absorbing? You know what I'm saying? Like, we talking about frequency, but we talking about programming as well. Okay. Now, if you understand, like I tell you all the time, they put all these music artists out here to put all this negative music out, right? I'm talking about all this music they put out to make sure that you vibrating low. You see, they send out this low frequency music. It ain't just it's the stuff that they saying, but also it's the sound, okay, the harmonic noise and stuff that's coming through this music. This stuff has power, man. I don't know if y'all remember. There was the Travis Scott concert. I did a whole piece on the Travis Scott concert, man. Travis Scott did this music, man, and the people in the crowd was complaining about the sound. It was like some kind of sound that they were feeling that started to affect everybody. Okay, there's a frequency that's coming out of the sound that you may not identify with. It hasn't been explained to you, but it does exist. Okay, that's why you hear certain sounds and certain music can affect you physically. All right, think about this. And sound and frequency, sound also affects like liquid and stuff. It affects molecules, stuff like that. Okay, and it also, like I told you before, certain sound, certain hertz can activate your pineal. Okay, activate your pineal. It can crack your pineal open. So I told you too, talking about the seventh trumpet and everything like that, talking about ascending to the upper dimensions, right? But like I say, the Travis Scott concert, people were complaining about a eerie sound that was making them feel sick, or people started having these problems and stuff. This frequency, this hertz that was being put out was causing these problems in these people. Okay, now remember, they're operating off frequency and hertz. Now it's also, I put out a video with Todd Callender. It was talking about people that took the walk, right? And you got certain nanotechnology in these people, to whereas that certain frequency that they emit through these antennas that's been put out will basically crack open this nanotechnology. Okay, so they understand this stuff, and this is how they operate. We may not necessarily understand it, but this is what's really going on. That's why they put out certain music to make sure that you continue to vibrate low. That way you're not able to connect and get to the source like you're supposed to. That's why they pay them the way they do. Okay. Certain music that you listen to has the ability to heal. Okay. Like I said, it has the ability to open you up far spiritually. Okay. It has the ability to advance your abilities. Okay. Just like certain things you see, they don't want us seeing certain things, like certain colors and stuff like that. As spiritual beings, like we will be able to react to this stuff. Like it has an effect and can activate things. All right. So they do what they can to make sure that you don't have these powers that are basically vested in you. Now, I want to pull up a couple things, man, to kind of put in perspective. You understand, man, Tesla, Nikola Tesla, man, he built the time machine and everything like that. He also understood like hertz. He understood frequency and stuff. He understood sound vibration. He understood the universe. He understood the numbers 369 manifestation. Okay, this is stuff that deals with more on the spiritual side. But you remember I did the video with Al Billick where he was talking about how Tesla had been in touch with other beings and stuff like that. And he was getting all this information. That's why he had an advanced level of thinking, and he was able to create some of the advanced technology that we have, because they understand, they operate off of this stuff, the frequency, the sound, vibration, stuff that ain't really taught to us. But he came up with stuff that could heal too. He had we had the med beds. Okay, you start talking about the med beds. How many of y'all seen that movie? What is it? Elysium? I think it's called Elysium, where they laid in the med bed and anything that was wrong with them, it healed it, right? We talk about the Rife machine, okay? You know about the Rife machine, then you know that thing dealt with straight hertz, okay? Straight hertz. So that was the way of healing by using that, just like music. If you ever listen to certain music, you be driving down the highway, certain song come on, talking my guy that we just had here. Was it yesterday? No, it was the day before. My guy that was on with us, Kumar. If you watch now, what's up, brother? He was on, and I said, man, he came. I said, man, you like DMX, man. I used to listen to DMX all the time. When I was young, I put DMX on, man, and all of a sudden, as soon as it came on, like, y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here. Like when that song came on, man, I about lost my dang mind. I lost my dang mind. But it's the frequency, it's the hertz, it's the sound of the stuff that the music is putting out, and it starts to cause you to move like this. You ever been in a club, like a certain song come on, you just start grooving to it. Like that's just what it do. It's how we function. It has an effect on you. Okay. So people respond to that. Depending on where you vibrating at too, will also dictate where what you respond to. Okay. If you're not calcified, that's going to play a part in it. Okay. Because now you activating your chakras, you activating your pineal, all this stuff is happening. Okay. And it's not told to you, but they know this stuff. That's why they use it, and they send this frequency and stuff out, and people don't know nothing about it. But what I want to do, man, is play some stuff for y'all that kind of put some stuff in perspective as far as this sound and things like that. Okay, and we're gonna look at some stuff real quick. Hold on. There we go.
Nikola Tesla knew of the Earth ring.
All right, so let me go. We're gonna do the presentation. Boom. Play this. Man, screen one. Here we go. All right, guys.
We now know that cancer is
Nikola Tesla knew of the Earth ring like a button.
We now know that cancer is vulnerable between the frequencies of 100,000 hertz and 300,000 hertz.
The guys that created the religious symbols know all this stuff. These guys knew all this stuff. We live in an electromagnetic universe. This is what we are told, where everything spins and vibrates. And the electromagnetic universe is actually a subtle deception. And you'll understand as we go why I say this. It's a very subtle deception, a very important subtle deception. because it's not the electromagnetic universe that we live in. It's the magneto-electric universe that we live in. And just twisting those two around would have given us a very different perception while we grow up about the world that we live in and the universe and this reality of us. If we don't think of it as the electromagnetic, but the magneto-electric. Huge consciousness shift in growing up with that kind of thinking. Everything has its own specific frequency, as we mentioned before. Prime resonance frequency. Everything vibrates at its own frequency. That's how we can manipulate things with frequency and sound and resonance. All comes to the same thing when you start breaking it down. Sound and resonance are also the common links of all creation. In Christianity, we have the word, we have the in Hinduism, the Egyptians that sang the universe into creation. And my favorite, the Aboriginals, that believe the world was sung into creation with 3 sacred songs, or brought into creation with 3 sacred songs, which is the equivalent to the Holy Trinity. We start seeing the whole important structure of music and resonance and chord structures, harmonic resonance in music. We get the 6 days of creation very obviously become visible in sacred geometry, and the 6 aspects of show us cymatic patterns, and the 6 aspects of the all-seeing eye of Horus show us 6 very obvious resonating ratios that tell us that all these ancient cultures understood sound, resonance, and frequency, and it's encoded in all the things that they did. Sound is the source of all creation, and it's all about coherence and harmonic resonance, even in our bodies. If the cells of our body are not in coherent harmonic resonance, our cells are in dis-ease, in disease, and that's why we get sick. And if we're not resonating with the earth frequencies, the natural earth frequencies of Gaia, we are in dis-ease with the Mother Earth that we live on and walk on, and that's why we get sick. Hans Jenny's beautiful documentary called Cymatics in the 60s will show you exactly how sound is pretty much behind everything in creation. We've already looked at sound manifesting in physical form. This is the quickest and easiest way for us to comprehend, once again, how this untouchable, invisible thing called sound can manifest in physical form. That little thing on the metal plate, with the sand on the metal plate on that video. That's just probably the quickest way for us to say, okay, sound can manifest physical shapes. And sound also inspired religious symbols, because the guys that created the religious symbols know all this stuff. These guys knew all this stuff, and they know they're all connected to the ancient bloodlines. And some of these beautiful images of the cymatic patterns, when you drill into it, you get that perfect cross in a circle of the source of the sound. And that's it. The source of the sound is this beautiful cross in a circle, and this is why most of the religious movements have the cross in a circle as their symbol, recognizing that the source of everything in creation is sound, the sound of the Creator. And sound and resonance that does everything you can imagine, right? Creates light, levitates, boils water, creates DNA. Sound heals and destroys pathogens, moves beyond the speed of light. And we have hypersound and laser and Caesar technology, not laser, sound lasers, Caesar. Sound makes things invisible, energizes the water we drink, so that the water actually heals us, and it also energizes the air that we breathe, so that we can actually survive from the air that we breathe. Otherwise, we would not survive from the air that we breathe if it wasn't for sound. And very importantly, sound is the precursor to electromagnetism, not the other way around. Sound causes electromagnetism. This is a big one for us to come to terms with. Ancient civilizations understood all this, and they used sound and frequency as a source of energy in every possible way. They used sound and frequency to control humanity, and it seems that they were focusing for some reason on our pineal gland. They had to destroy our pineal gland, and the more you study this, the more you realize why that was critical, because it seems that our pineal gland was that third eye that so many of us are aware of, or we keep calling it our third eye, that connected us to everything in creation and allowed us to pick up the frequencies and the invisible, untouchable, unfathomable stuff through the third eye, and actually be able to communicate telepathically with everything and everyone, interact not only with other beings, but with other entities and beings and animals and trees and rocks, because of our third eye. That thing there is the magic part of our body and our anatomy that's been completely destroyed. And it seems from all these images that they took a lot of time and effort to destroy our pineal gland. And they continue to do so today, as you are aware of. And they used cone-shaped tools to do this. This is a key thing here. You can clearly see the cone-shaped tools, and this is a repetitive theme all the time. And the pineal gland, and also by the look of it, the DNA that is obviously the code that creates the pineal gland in our anatomy eventually, and sound and frequency. Notice the magnetic wrist watch here. And I'm giving the game away here because I'm telling you what that is. There is a cone. This guy's holding a cone in his hand, very important cone-shaped tool that he's doing some function with. And there's another cone here on his arm. At first you think, oh, it's just an interpretation of the guy's muscle. No, it's a cone. It's a perfect cone that feeds into this magnetic wristwatch. And you'll know why that's a magnetic wristwatch very soon. And the same kind of control through using frequency and sound and magnetism and electromagnetism that was used in ancient times, the all-seeing eye of Horus, it's still being used by the broadcast companies today. You know, it's encoded in their logos. It's everywhere around us, but we're just too blind to see it. Sound as a tool and technology, very important. Sound creates light. Even this, you attach a LED light to a speaker, and you put a speaker in a noisy place, you light the little LED up. That's spectacular. So it works both ways, light and sound. Every sound frequency has a light frequency, and every light frequency has a sound frequency attached to it. Corey Good, in a recent interview, said that he was in some giant underground cavern somewhere, and there was this invisible source of light. And when he asked, where does the light come from? He was told the light was coming from the sound. The light was being created by the sound. In Egypt, the ankh was used for healing. That was just a resonating device, sound frequency resonating for healing. The Native American medicine wheel is clearly just a cross in a circle as a source of all things, so from sound to heal people. Royal Rife, the man who cured all disease in 1931, they did that with sound and resonance and frequency, spectacular achievement in curing cancer in the wards. This is his handwritten book that I had the privilege of seeing. It's in a private library in Sedona, Arizona.
I'm gonna pause there for a second, guys. I'm gonna pause there for a second because I want to hit on that. If you remember earlier in the video, I mentioned the Rife machine or whatnot and how he put that together. And what it does, it sends out healing frequency. It sends out hertz, okay, that essentially go in and kill parasites, which is a huge thing. Now, we never got that machine, okay, but there have been people that have recreated versions of the Rife machine, and it's basically like a handheld device that puts out hertz into your system, basically through sound and whatnot. So we may take a look at that as well, but I want to point that out because people never heard much about the Rife machine. Like, well, what does the Rife machine do? Yeah, it puts out hertz, okay, and sound. It uses sound hertz frequency, okay.
About 700 pages in there, I think, and they are page after page with his own handwritten frequencies for all the different diseases. One of my biggest, most exciting obsessions at the moment. If there are people in this room who can do this, please go away and do this. You know that honey lasts forever. It doesn't go off. It's not affected by viruses, bacteria, pathogens. It's one of those miraculous things. Apparently, the reason that honey does that is because of the frequencies of the bees' wings when they're building their honeycombs and when they're creating and bringing in the honey.
So now hertz.
It's the frequency of the bees' wings that creates the hexagonal structure of honeycombs. It's also interesting is that the hexagonal structure is a structure of oxygenated and structured water that cures disease. This is really important. If any one of you can go and record the frequency of bees in a beehive, the buzzing of the bees' wings, and you take that frequency to a lab, a biochemistry lab, and you expose a petri dish of viruses, bacteria, and fungus to the frequency of the bees' wings, I suspect that frequency will kill the bacteria. George Lakhovsky's multiple wave oscillator is a spectacular device with which he cured his father. Listen carefully. He cured his father of quadriplegia. You don't cure people of quadriplegia, right? His father was admitted with quadriplegia into the hospital in the USA. 6 weeks later, he walked out on crutches. The way he treated him is every day he walked in there with a little small handheld portable multiple wave oscillator from George Lakhovsky and treated him for about 45 minutes up and down his spine, after which he exposed him to color light therapy for another hour. He did this for 4 weeks, 6 weeks. His father walked out on crutches. I saw the hospital report. It says, Mr. So-and-so exhibited a remarkable recovery. That's it. It's spectacular. They just won't go there. They will not be, engaged in any explanation. In 2011, Anthony Holland, this is now in a TED talk, show us which frequencies kill cancer cells. Very briefly. Okay, he tells us between 100,000 hertz and 300,000 hertz kills cancer cells. And he shows us in the TED talk.
We now know that cancer is vulnerable between the frequencies of 100,000 hertz and 300,000 hertz. So now we attack leukemia cells. Leukemia cell number 1 tries to grow a copy of itself, but the new cell is shattered into dozens of fragments and scattered across the slide. Leukemia cell number 2 then hyperinflates and also dies. Leukemia cell number 3 then tries to make another cancer cell. The new cell is shattered and the original cell dies.
Magnetrons obviously generate huge amounts of energy, and that's just sound. It's a resonant cavity magnetron. Resonant cavity magnetron that's used in laser beams, laser technology, microwaves, all use magnetrons for that technology. Sound acts as a cloak of invisibility. There's so much new information about this. This opens a whole new chapter in debate. There's very advanced new sound cloaking technology right now available. This plastic 3D acoustic pyramid acts as an acoustic cloak, make things invisible when you put it underneath it, when you expose that pyramid to specific sound frequencies. And that pyramid is reminiscent of what? Is reminiscent very strongly of Eastern architecture. Sound creates hurricanes. In 2003, these guys lodged a patent to create hurricanes with sound. And then here's another one. Sound creates supercluster galaxies. When I said earlier, the lower the frequency, the larger the cymatic shape. Now you've got a frequency that's 57 octaves lower than middle C, rumbling away from a supermassive black hole in the Perseus cluster in the key of B flat, creating a supercluster galaxy. And it's amazing. This is apparently an image of it. I like the one on the left because when you watch Hans Jenny's cymatics documentary, that looks identical to the images of lycopodium powder on a metal plate with sound frequencies on it. This is like lycopodium powder that's creating supercluster galaxies. This is insane. So you start to get the idea of as above, so below. There's no end. This is what really disturbs me. The fact that we could put out fire with sound, and yet this has not been employed or used anyway. Why? Because it's not good for business. Remember, the moment we stop the growth and the need for money, the entire global financial system collapses. This is just spectacular. These kids developed this little resonator that puts out a fire. 5 seconds. Count it from the moment they put it down to the frying pan to when the fire is out. 5 seconds. Imagine the fire trucks arriving at a burning building. The ladders go up, and instead of fire hoses, a bunch of speakers get switched on and put out this frequency. That fire in the building will be out in literally few seconds or a minute. The entire fire, everywhere, because it'll resonate right through the building. But that's not going to happen, because that's going to save a lot of money.
swarm robotics where it can be attached to a drone, and that would be applied to forest fires or even building fires where you wouldn't want to
5
sacrifice.
seconds. Sound energizes the air we breathe, and this is how we actually oxygenate our bodies and our lungs, and through our lungs, the blood in our veins, in our arteries rather. Because as you breathe, the air that you breathe makes a bloody noise, and it goes into your lungs, and it goes into the smaller and smaller orifices as it moves into your lungs. So it speeds up and speeds up, and it goes higher and higher and creates these frequencies. And it's the energy and the sound of the air that you breathe that actually energizes the oxygen in the air. So the oxygen is buzzing and it's moving faster and faster. By the time it reaches your alveoli, and it goes from the alveoli into your artery, from the lungs into the arteries, that oxygen in the air is buzzing and energized from the sound. And that's when it goes into your blood, and it's used in the blood, and it's stripped of the vibrating energy. And when it's stripped of the vibrating energy, you breathe it out again. And it just repeats that cycle. And that's how we energize the oxygen that we breathe. They don't teach you this at medical school. In 2011, Luc Montagnier spontaneously generated DNA by exposing a tube of water to certain sound frequencies that had the frequencies of a DNA in it, and constituted DNA in an empty test tube. If you can create DNA in an empty test tube with sound, now you start understanding how we can start cloning other species and other creatures just by sound and vibration. And then obviously sonoluminescence, the star in a jar. God said, let there be light. A bubble with brilliant light inside a body of water. Is it possible that all the star systems that we see out there are actually just giant bubbles of light in a never-ending mass of water? I don't know.
Okay. Real quick, we'll take a look at this other video.
Another, from one Ian to another. This is about 71-year-old Ian Palmer. And Ian, I don't know if you have heard or you've known somebody that's been affected with that Guillain-Barré syndrome. Guillain-Barré syndrome.
Yes.
So it causes paralysis. It comes on pretty suddenly. It can cause really muscle weakness, fatigue. It's not a good thing to get. But Ian got it in June. And he started being unable to walk, and he was like, he was trying to find a treatment. So he went into a neurological care facility. And while he was there, he met a therapist named Claire. Now, Claire had an idea that she often does with a lot of her patients of utilizing musical therapy to get him not only back on his feet, but he was having trouble eating and all this stuff. So the story, I urge you to read it, because he talks about how she started telling him, like, we need to sing from our diaphragm. We're listening to music. He started listening to the Carpenters, and he's like, I'm a man from the North. I don't know anything about any of this music stuff. He said, I didn't even know where the diaphragm was. But as he started listening to the Carpenters, he said it unlocked a pathway to his brain that really allowed it to rewire itself and heal himself from the inside out from music therapy. And so he said, originally his goal was to walk to the front door because he was paralyzed. He's like, now I put on my headphones, I do my vocal exercises, and I can walk over 2 miles.
Over 2 miles,
Yes.
all to the music and inspiration of the Carpenters.
Can you believe?
He's on top of the world looking down on
Carpenters,
creation. That was you weren't born then.
I love the Carpenters.
I love the Carpenters.
Really?
That is incredible.
Can you believe?
And good for her for realizing that something, let's try to think outside the box in ways that we can tap into this man's good health and getting him back on the road to recovery.
I know. It's really something. Thank you, Claire.
Music is frequency programming. Music is frequency. What frequency are you being fed? If I play with those frequencies, right, I can target certain parts of the mind, target the frequency to go to certain parts of the mind, and I can literally, if I want you to astral project, or if I want you to go to sleep, or if I want you to go into a meditative state, I can make my music do that.
The brain.
So guys, Just want to hit on that real quick because my guy, XX, he was talking about something, man, that a lot of people know about, but he was in the music industry, man. It's crazy though, because he was kind of on. I know when I first picked up on him, man, he was on some other stuff. I didn't agree with what he was talking about because he had some different implications in his music, but that does not dismiss the fact that he understood how music worked and how it was able to control people, okay, and how he was able to utilize it to have the effect that he wanted, the desired effect. So how can somebody, you know, as young as he, that's new, like pretty much an amateur at creating music and putting it out for the masses, how could he know all this stuff without having some kind of knowledge from some occult teachings? Now, he was showing signs that he might have been dealing with them, okay? And not too long ago, he was assassinated or killed by some folks, man, that they want to rob him or whatever. But he still has some kind of understanding of how frequency, how hertz and stuff works, talking about how it affects the pineal gland, okay, how it is able to control your thoughts and make you want to do things that you may not want to do or whatever. Okay, he understood that. And that was the guy. You didn't understand the first part of this intro. That was the guy that was speaking. I'll play it again so you can hear it if you guys weren't paying attention. Just listen to what he's saying about what music can do or how he can target certain parts of the brain and everything like that. Kind of like that, what they was just saying. We'll go into more depth with that on this video as well. Okay, so.
Processes information electrically.
Music is frequency programming. Music is frequency. What frequency are you being fed? If I play with those frequencies, right, I can target certain parts of the mind, target the frequency to go to certain parts of the mind, and I can literally, if I want you to astral project, or if I want you to go to sleep, or if I want you to go into a meditative state, I can make my music do that.
The brain processes information electrically. It communicates with the cellular structure electrically, and it operates within a certain band of frequency. If you can broadcast frequencies carrying information, this technology has long been done, carrying information and perceptions within the frequency that the brain decodes information, the brain will decode those frequencies and will have those perceptions. You can externally influence people's perceptions externally by broadcasting these frequencies that we interact with because we are antenna.
The sad reality is.
So I didn't even have the dang video up. I'm gonna have to play it back. I'm looking at it. Not paying attention. I apologize, guys, but I wanted to say something real quick anyway. The whole thing with the like I tell you, they do stuff to us physically, but understand that they do stuff to us spiritually. They've been doing stuff to affect us, man, from the moment we came in with the stuff they give us as far as the medicines and stuff, and then they do maintenance and upkeep as far as that. But they've been doing stuff, man, to directly affect what your spirit intakes and what you're able to perceive, your depth of perception. All of that stuff is being tampered with or is being in pretty much taken over, and it's being driven by these beings, these folks that know how that stuff works. So they don't tell you. It's like somebody give you a game or something, and then they don't give you the instructions with it. You don't know how to play it, but they gave it to you, right? Give you a car to drive. You ain't never drove before. You don't know nothing about driving a car, you know. And then they give you a whole bunch of stuff to distract you away from even being concerned about learning or knowing the instructions, right? So let me go back and play that because I don't know what the heck I'm thinking about right now. Here we go.
The brain processes information electrically. It communicates with the cellular structure electrically, and it operates within a certain band of frequency. If you can broadcast frequencies carrying information, this technology's long been known, carrying information and perceptions within the frequency that the brain decodes information. The brain will decode those frequencies, and you can externally influence people's perceptions externally by broadcasting these frequencies that we interact with, because we are antenna.
The sad reality is that where we now play our music is in A440. Where did that come from? It used to be 417. A440 came in with the Roman Catholic Church. They suppressed the frequencies. They lost somehow the 152 of the best Gregorian chants, including the hymn to St. John the Baptist, which we've now recovered. That particular hymn was what triggered Dr. Palaio's investigation, looking for those frequencies of vibration by which the music was played. It was known as the most uplifting hymn of all the ages, the most spiritually uplifting hymn.
Okay, so guys, some you may know, some you may not, but there's certain frequency, man, that a certain hertz that has certain powers. Like you can put, I want to say it's 342. That might be the hertz for healing energy. Okay, healing frequency. There's frequency for manifestation. There's frequency for like spiritual intellect or for heightened intellect. There's different things that you can do depending on the frequency. There's relaxing frequency that you don't know, but you play it in the music and you relaxed. Okay, just like I just told you, certain music that you play that sends out certain frequency and it makes you get active. Like you don't want to listen to certain stuff before you just like you about to go fight like 20 guys. You don't want to listen to like ballerina music. That's probably, you know, I mean, it might sound good to you, but you're probably gonna get your ass whooped. I'm just being honest with you. If you about to go into a fight, you probably want to put on my God DMX or something like that, or some hard heavy metal rock and roll, because that's gonna give you that boost, that energy to put you in a more of a aggressive state of mind. Okay, based off of just to listen to. It's the sound, it's also the frequency, the harmonic tones and stuff like that that do that. I understand that part of how it works.
Hymn to St. John the Baptist was played to 6 tones. These are those 6 tones. These are those 6 frequencies. And so the A440 is what now is the standard tuning. If you go A439, you're closer to one of the creator's tones. If you go A441, you're closer to one of the creator's original tones. That's how precisely it has been manipulated. To do what? To shut down the 95% of your brain, particularly the right brain that operates the heart mind to the divine human community.
Some decades ago, there was a guy who worked out the frequencies of different emotional states. This is long ago. I mean, it's very, very sophisticated now. So every thought, every emotional response is a frequency. It generates a frequency, and it is of itself a frequency. Hate is a frequency, and it's different to love. You know, when you are in a room and there's lots of aggression and conflict and hatred, you feel it. What do people say? Oh God, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife in there. That is because the frequencies of hate and conflict have been so generated, they have changed the electromagnetic field of the room.
When you go driving your car and your channel on the radio is tuned to a station and you're grooving to the music, you love that music. As you get farther and farther away from the broadcasting tower, that music gets static. You start to lose the signal from the clear channel, broadcast, and it gets staticky. When it gets staticky, you get a little annoyed. But you want to listen to it. You really have a heart for that music, so you continue to listen to it for another 10, 15 miles, and suddenly it becomes so annoying that you just get disgusted, you go, and you shut it off. And if you continue to listen to it, you get sick. That's what we're talking about here. Except you don't even know that you've been listening to the static your whole life. You don't even know what the true resonant frequency is because it has been kept.
Now, of course, to really be effective, we need to use the proper words and phrases, scientifically selected. But that gives you the basic idea. We embed messages just below the threshold of perception, so they can go directly into the subconscious.
They can play across a community these frequencies without anyone knowing, and it starts to have an effect. And it starts to build rage, it starts to build anger. And people might not realize why they're feeling it, they start feeling. And then what they do is they trigger that with an event. Maybe some guy is attacked by the police or something, or somebody's arrested for something they didn't commit. And now there's the trigger. The blue touch paper has been lit of this manufactured frequency-driven rage. And you have mass riots and what have you, and people do things that they wouldn't normally do.
So in other words, the master composer, master conductor of the Universal Orchestra is singing love songs in 5/8, uplifting everything simultaneously. And we're the only species out of tune and accepting static for the clear channel.
Do you know that the American military, they've admitted this. They have technology that fires frequencies at the enemy that basically breaks the enemy's spirit, so they give up and put their weapons down. This is the technology we're dealing with.
So basically, guys, they're talking about how they've implemented this technology to use it against us. Okay. Well, if they understand that in the frequency and whatnot, then you have to understand also, well, how have they figured out a way? Why do they know this? What do they know that we don't know? Goes back to the calcification of the pineal gland and our spiritual senses, the things that we supposed to have acquired, but they're making sure that you don't have this power, this energy, or you're not able to operate on the type of wavelength that you need to. So they just use it for evil. As long as you don't know about it, ain't nothing you could do about it, right? And most people, like we talk about, most people don't even know they have a pineal gland, let alone that it's being affected every day. Okay, it's being used as a remote control to keep you pretty much locked in here. That's essentially what it is. So you may wonder, like, well, shoot, well, why are we, so prone to just get up and do the same thing day after day? Why are we so distracted? Why are we compelled to, listen to negative music? Why are we compelled to engage in violent acts or watch violent TV and stuff like that? This is the stuff that they make sure that we do in order to keep us from having that level of consciousness to begin with. And also, if you can't reach that higher vibration because of the frequency that they're putting out, then it keeps you from ever reaching that level of spirituality that you need to be at in order to ascend and everything else. So I wanted to play another little video. So this guy kind of explains it, breaks it down pretty good. So I wanted to play a little piece from him real quick. I thought it was good.
Legends! Hope you're having a beautiful day. My name is Joff and I assist people raise their vibration. Right. Today, we're talking about the hertz frequency, binaural beats, 432 hertz, 528 hertz, 639 hertz, 741. There's a bit of this, bit of that, bit of so many hertz that we all have access to. If you're watching this on your phone or anything, however you're watching this, you've got access to these hertz. It's on Spotify, YouTube, whatever. Just tune into it. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. It's just, it's a great idea. All right, let's go a bit deeper. All right, so 432 hertz is the God frequency. So we harmonize our beingness with the infinite creator every time we put this on. So Like right now, for example, I'm out here in nature. I don't really necessarily need it. No one needs it. It is what it is. It's just a bonus. But that's the thing is I'm out here, I'm in this energy where I just put my phone down and I've got that frequency around me because I'm out here in nature. So I've got this high vibrational frequency around me because I'm out here. If I was to put on 432 hertz out here, it definitely would raise the tempo to be a beautiful, even more powerful high vibrational experience. But that's the thing is that I save it. I'll save it for buddy when I go home. I'll charge my room. I'll go home. I'll put if it's my phone or speaker or whatever, I'll just put my phone in there on some sort of frequency, 432 hertz or the 528 hertz, which is the love frequency, 639 hertz, which is like the relationship, companionship frequency. And what I'm going to do is I've actually created about seven playlists of frequencies, different hertz frequencies, which there's a whole bunch of 432 hertz in the 432 hertz collection, and there's a whole bunch of 528 hertz in my 528 collection playlist, same thing. So what I'll do is I'll put all of those in the description below and tune into them. Go and check them out. You can favorite them, and you can have access to a whole bunch of the stuff that I listen to. It's I just mix it up. I mix it up between like I said, it's 8 or 9 different playlists. I'll only put like 3 or 4 up, maybe, just to. We'll see. Whatever it'll be, it will be. No expectations. Check in the description below though, and I'll have the information in there. And yeah, this is the thing is we have an opportunity. Like sometimes in my house, I'll have 2 separate speakers going with 2 separate frequencies or the same frequency, and just allow the house to be a healing experience. Harmonization. Like sometimes if I go out into that's the thing is there's so many ways I use this, and that's why I like to share them, because it just gives everyone the accessibility consciously to be able to do this. Like sometimes I'm in a big group of people. I'll put my phone in my pocket on airplane mode with 528 hertz. Turn it on low. Yeah, sometimes if people hear it, I actually don't care. It is what it is. But I'll put it onto a level of whatever volume that I feel, and just allow the frequency to do its thing. Harmonize, heal, evolve, strengthen. These are all the benefits of this. All of these frequencies, they've all got different benefits. You can do your own research into it. They've all got different, deeper underlying benefits. Like I said, the 639 is like harmony between relationships, which I've used before when I've had family over where there's been a bit of beef, and I chuck on a bit of 639 hertz around them, and just energy is very real. It does its thing. Allow the energy to do its thing, and to allow harmonization between my family. And relationships, companionships, and that's the thing. Yeah, there's so many different unique benefits of each frequency, but the underlying facts is, they're all healing. They're all they reduce stress. They calm you the fuck down. I'll tell you that much. Put on these ones. See, I meditate to hertz basically every day. I think most likely that's what I do. Nearly every day, if not every day. I'll put on the hertz, like. Even in the car, just going for a drive, put on some hertz. Don't fall asleep though. That's the thing is, if you're going to drive with hertz on, be aware. I've been in them. You can learn from me. I've been driving with hertz on, and having to put on some groovy music, man, because I'm like, oh shit, I'm so sedate right now. I'm so calm. This is insane. And prior to that sedation, I was in like a bit of a faster pace. So they're powerful. They're very, very powerful, and they're a gift to us all. They're a gift to every single one of us, these frequencies, okay? So, yes. And what I'll do, actually, I'll send through in the description below. I've got another video that I mentioned about the hertz. I'll put a whole bunch of stuff in the links below. Check it out. Have a look. Do your own research, though, Like I've said, I keep it simple. I like to keep it simple because, as you guys might have seen in my recent September energy update, everything's being complicated. Always been complicated for such a long time, and once we go to the simplification of everything's so fucking easy, man. What? How their job? Because they complicated us. They like their mental enslavement tactics to make sure that they keep our minds busy so that we don't wake up to the fact that everything is easy and it's like everything is simple. That's the purity of it, you know. And you might not understand that right now. That's okay. Just continue to evolve, continue to heal, continue to go within, and let go of shit that no longer serves you. Let go of all that shit. You got, and you know what? I'll put in the let go video as well. Look, you guys are getting a whirlwind of love in this one. Whole bunch of, who would have thought, huh? I mean, I think I would have thought. Actually, it's the Hertz one. This is a big video right here. It's a beautiful video. Share this, please. Share this with someone. This is a beautiful video. This is a video that can, you know, can change anyone's life. You know, let's be honest. These Hertz frequencies, I share them with so many people. I don't know if they do it, but I reckon that they would eventually. I'm planting the seed, you know, allowing the seed to sprout if it's meant to sprout, because these Hertz frequencies just allow us to be ourselves more and more.
Okay, guys. So if you notice my guy there, he was kind of going in about the different Hertz frequencies that there are, so that you can get an understanding of what does what. Like I was telling y'all just a second ago, I mentioned the 342 or whatnot, and the healing frequency, the love frequency, the manifestation frequency, and stuff like that. Tesla had a frequency that he put out, I believe it was 369 frequency, which is also utilized for manifestation. So these are things that you need to utilize in order to have those powers. That connects back to your spiritual senses. Now, you don't have to play this in order to have the powers that you have, but this helps to encourage and activate and to promote those type of responses from your pineal, from the activation and everything like that. So you want to get familiar with some of these frequencies, these hertz, these tones, these harmonic sounds and things like that, so that you get a better understanding of your spiritual side. Okay. Like I tell you all the time, guys, we working off the physical with everything we got going on. Like you watching me right now in this video, you watching me through your physical senses. Okay. But you still a spiritual being first. There's stuff that your spiritual might be bringing in that you might be assessing from this totally different. It might be going in through your subconscious mind. You understand? The same thing with the sound and the frequency and everything like that. It might be working on the back door instead of coming through your regular physical senses, if you know what I mean. So I got one more video that I wanted to show you guys real quick. Hold on, let me pull it up. And this was going dealing with the Rife machine and everything like that, so you get a better understanding of that and how it works, how they use it, how they basically try to hide it, because that's what they do, right?
Destroy these viruses. He discovered that every cell and molecule vibrates for these viruses. He discovered that every cell and molecule vibrates at its own distinct frequency, and that by beaming plasma rays of the same frequency at those cells, you actually amplify their frequency and destroy them. This happens because of something known as resonance. When two things of the same frequency come together, they actually amplify each other's frequency. This is actually how opera singers are able to destroy wine glasses. When their voice matches the resonant frequency of the glass, it makes the glass vibrate at a higher frequency, making it vibrate more intensely and causing it to shatter. Resonance can basically amplify the vibration of anything and destroy it, from something as small as a wine glass to something as large as a bridge. Now, in the same way, Rife created a device that could shatter cells by matching the resonant frequency. By sending an impulse of electromagnetic waves of the same frequency as the cell, you amplify its vibration and disintegrate it. When he did, his Rife machine destroyed 60% of the cancer cells in his patients. Now, sadly, some greedy people at the time thought that this was bad for the medical business and getting money from cancer patients, so they found ways to destroy Rife's career and his new invention. Even on Google, some pages like Medical News still tell you that this device is a hoax. Now, this would be believable if other people had not reproduced the same results, also using frequencies and resonance, such as this guy from TED Talks, who also discovered electric fields of certain frequencies destroyed cancer cells.
We now know that cancer is vulnerable between the frequencies of 100,000 hertz and 300,000 hertz. So now we attack leukemia cells.
He then shows how you destroyed leukemia cells and also pancreatic cancer cells using resonance. Also being able to destroy 60% of cells like Rife did and slowing the growth rate of cancer by 65%. And here's another video of another person also discovering a very similar thing by using a technique called histotripsy, which uses sound waves to destroy cancer tissue. Also by matching the cancer's resonant frequency. All this has now been called resonant frequency therapy if you want to look it up further. And keep in mind, with any medical sense, also being able to destroy 60% of cells like Rife did and slowing the growth rate of cancer by 65%. And here's another video of another person also discovering a very similar thing by using a technique called histotripsy, which uses sound waves to destroy cancer tissue. Also by matching the cancer's resonant frequency. All of this has now been called resonant frequency therapy if you want to look it up further. And keep in mind, if any medical website tries to say that it's fake, it could be because the cancer industry is literally $1.58 billion. And this frequency treatment would get rid of all the things that generate that money. Just keep that in mind.
Okay. All right, guys. Anyway, I wanted y'all to see that so you get an understanding of the Rife machine and how that worked and everything, which is basically, guys, just like now, you got people that figure out how to cure things and stuff, and they disappear or the information never gets to the public. That's one thing that was created like more than 50, 60 years ago, and they suppressed that information, okay, because it held a lot of secrets or information that would lead to other revelations and things that we're not supposed to be privy to. So if something like that comes up, then of course they're gonna push it down because it posed a threat to the medical industry, it posed a threat to the DEPOP program. Okay, so just like they did today with suppressing the different stuff, the remedies for CV, and people taking certain diseases that basically are parasitic, right? They went out their way to suppress that information, and by doing so, they suppress these different inventions and things and medications or remedies, whether it be herbal or whatever. They do that, okay? But if you look, like there's the Rife machine dealt with hertz and stuff in the body, and what it did, it went in and killed like parasites and whatnot. Same thing is said to be done if you play these certain sounds and stuff. It can kill organisms, like we're talking about on the molecular level, talking about killing cancer and stuff. You're able to kill organisms. You're able to heal the body because you're killing these organisms that's in the body. Okay, there are sounds that you can play that have effect on animals and stuff. Just like certain sounds you hear, you like, oh, that screeching sound killed my ears or whatever. Like a scratching on the chalkboard, like this puts out a certain frequency, these specific sounds that affect us. Okay, it may affect us physically, also may affect you spiritually. But either way, these different sounds and frequency have the capability of doing that if they're tuned the right way. They tuned in a certain way, if that makes any kind of sense. So either way, guys, I think that information is pertinent for us in understanding who we are, how we live, and what affects us, and also what we're capable of from a spiritual aspect. Like I tell you guys all the time, when you talk about the whole idea of heaven and hell, and people like, well, God's gonna come back, or Jesus is gonna come back and he's gonna sound a trumpet or whatever. Well, if that very well may be the case, okay, if you want to speak of this in biblical terms, but that sound, understand that's gonna come off as a frequency, as a sound that's gonna tap in up here. Okay, if you're able to receive that message, okay, if you're able to receive that signal, that frequency is going to give you the ability to ascend, to raise your consciousness to another level. The same way they do it right now, where they put out the negative. You see what I'm saying? They put out that negative frequency that has the effect to bring you down and have you vibrating low enough to whereas you can be inhabited by different spirits, low enough to whereas if you were to die at that point, like I say, we was just talking about the dream state and the relationship between death and the different things that's secreted in the body or in the brain to get you to that point. Well, if you vibrating at a low enough level, then once you do cross over, you do pass, then those negative entities or spirits and things will be right there with you because they're unable to raise their vibration as well. If that makes sense. Same thing like you drinking alcohol and stuff and boom, you black out, another spirit comes in. Those dark spirits that's sitting there waiting because they ain't ascending. They still down here on this dimension looking to jump in and out of people like that. Okay. And understand they not visible. Okay. Just like frequency and things like that. It's not visible, but this is how spirits and how we operate in the spirit form, if that makes sense. So anyway, guys, I think we've covered a lot today. I don't know if we're gonna go any more in depth as far as frequency and hertz, but if you're not familiar, man, do some research on it. If you having any type of ailments and stuff. And I thought about putting some on in a detox shop, putting some of the hertz, because I got some that are for healing and whatnot, and it might be beneficial for some, man. It really will. Like I said, I played the video for you guys, and I had another one where they were showing a guy that kind of, he was able to be healed from being paraplegic just from sound. Like he was able to start walking and stuff again, which is just great. But yeah, like that's spiritual knowledge that they've hidden from us. You start putting all this stuff together, stuff that we be talking about, man, it paints a whole picture. All of that stuff that you should be learning, that ain't being taught to you. You can't go to school and learn this type of stuff, right? You just get bits and pieces as some people start to expose it just from their own experiences, from their own research and knowledge and things that they might have witnessed themselves, if that makes sense. So let me see if I got this other video that I had for you guys real quick. Take one more glance. There we go. Did anybody feel Froggy feel like they wanted to jump on the live real quick? Let me know. Raise your hand if you want to. We sure will get you in. Talk for a second. We can. Here we go. If not, that's fine too. So I know how scary it can be to have people, thousands of people looking at you, and you don't know who's looking at you and what kind of nasty stuff they might be saying or whatever. They might be saying kind things too, right? Hold up. You know what? Yeah, I can't find it. I had it earlier and I was about to. Yeah, so it's crazy. Like you look here, and I'll put it on the screen for y'all so y'all can see it. And where'd it go? Okay. But like we was just talking about the parasitic aspect and whatnot. And you look at here, like you got healing sound for scabies. Scabies is a parasite, right? So certain hertz and stuff like that. And I would almost bet that this is probably 100% dead on. Now, I don't know if the frequency is going to be the right one for sure or not, but it's going to affect those things that's in you if you have this. Okay. And like I was just telling you, the Rife machine and how he dealt with the parasites and whatnot was the hertz that he was shooting through the body. Okay. That hertz, that frequency that is given off. That's what he created. And notice they were talking about the Rife machine does what? It cures cancer, right? So you start putting two and two together. You're like, okay, well, how is that thing killing parasites? And then also it cures cancer. Like, what are we talking about here? What are we really doing? And they said something about that in the video, the first video I played, where he was talking about it, the frequency or whatever would kill cancer cells. Cancer cells would be killed by a certain frequency and stuff. So you look at that, and you also look at what we know about cancer now, you know, because they had it, because it, like, the sound also kills eggs. I got one. I might post it in the detox shop, man. I might post it in there, you know, for those that want to venture down that path, man, and see what it does for you. I may end up posting it, but either way, that's gonna about wrap it up, man. I don't think we're gonna get into much more. We've been on here about 2 hours. Try to keep it about 2 hours, man, because before we was doing roughly like 3-4 hours, man. I'll be on here with you guys for days, and I can't just be sitting up here on there with you guys like that. So, was anybody wanting to come on live? Let me know. I'm gonna give us a good 2 minutes to figure that out, man. I'm gonna let you guys discuss that amongst yourselves for a second. Deep dive with Gene Decode. Have to look into that. All right. Presentation. I want to see. Okay. Okay, guys. So, I think we're gonna wrap it up. Didn't get anybody that wanted to come on the live. That's cool. That's cool. So I'll probably be on here for another 30 minutes or so if I did. So, yeah, what I'm gonna do, man, I'll probably put another video together this weekend. I did all lives this weekend, man. We literally been on live 3 times in a week. I don't think we ever did that. Ever. This is a first time. So we did the lives, which kind of took away a lot of time for doing the other videos that I usually doing. But I would have probably discussed this stuff, and then the videos probably would have been compiled a little different, you know, than how I put it in there, because it was kind of jammed up. So I may end up doing a video just where I have to, you know, break it down for the people that would watch it just normally, not on the live. That way they can see it. And so for some of you guys, you may get a better understanding of seeing it the way I put it together. It's kind of hard to do it when you're doing a live because you're talking and stuff. Like I go in and I try to break it down a little bit so you kind of understand the relationship between some of the different clips and things. And how that correlates with whatever I'm discussing or whatnot. But yeah, we may do that. We'll see. Other than that, guys, if you don't know that this is the last day between today and ends tomorrow, the 40% off on the detox shop, the super bundles, man. Got the tagline running across the screen with everything that you're getting with that. If you guys have not detox or cleanse your system yet, that's something you definitely want to do. You want to look into. Obviously, we have several different bundle packages that you could choose from, carrying the ivermectin, the Genesis Pineal Gland Decalcifier, the Body Shot Bath Mix, the Parasite Detox, and also the new Dime facial cream. Okay, so those all deal with poisons, toxins, nanoparticles, Magellan fibers, the parasites internally, externally. If you don't know, guys, if you have parasites, you don't need to go to a doctor to find out. I can tell you this right now. I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert, but I guarantee you have parasites. Okay, and what if you've been watching me for long enough, then you also know that you must get rid of these parasites. And they're not going to tell you that, but you must get rid of the parasites. If you don't get rid of the parasites, they will infect your blood. They will get to a point where they enter your brain. Okay. At that point, it will be kind of too late for you, because they're going to start feeding on your brain, and they're going to start leaving lesions on your brain. And they're going to get to a point where they start causing neurological problems from being in your brain. You'll lose your memory, lose your thoughts and things like that. They also control you too. That's another aspect of it. But you'll start to have this mental and physical breakdown of your body over time. Okay. If you address it at some point, and I don't know the exact timeline. I have put together my own theory about how long it takes. I believe that most people that get in, and there's some science and doctors that are coming and attest to it too. Like Dr. Artist said, that what they are finding in MS patients or whatever, 100% of them had the parasites in their brain, but not just their brain, but in their spinal fluid. Okay, and also you find these same parasites in people that have dementia, Parkinson's, stuff like that. I believe personally that the parasites that get to the brain over time cause that, and it's because people didn't address it at a point where it was still manageable. Just like the eggs hatch, and then they move throughout the body. If you end up with a cyst on the brain or something because one of them parasites got up there, you might be cool if the egg never hatched. But if it does hatch, then you're gonna have lesions, and it's gonna lead to the different levels of MS and Parkinson's, dementia, and all that, because they feed. So understand that, man. Make sure if you haven't, do a detox at some point in this year, next year, and throughout your lifetime, to make sure you keep that stuff at a good level. I think we got somebody who wants to come on the live. Let's see. Might go and do it, man. It's all came in last minute, but we might go and have him on. Let me see if we can get him. Brother Berm. Let me see. Brother Berm. Okay. Brother Berm, can you hear me? Brother Berm. Let's see. Okay. Brother Berm, can you hear me? Brother Berm, you on mute. You got your mic muted. Gotta be visible. I don't know if he's working it right. Trying to come in, but he's not. I don't know. May not have. You got your mic muted. Okay, so
Hello?
Yeah, we got you.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, man? You coming in visible or?
I was trying to because I wanted to show you this video I had. You was talking
Okay.
about the spraying, and
Mhm.
I was having that situation in my neighborhood. It's kind of like a ghetto-like neighborhood. You know, it's not kept up. The grass ain't cut and stuff like that around. You know, abandoned houses and whatnot, empty lots, overgrown lots. But anyway, I was growing vegetables. This is about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
I don't.
You there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm just hearing that feedback though.
Okay, I got you.
But anyway, I caught them on camera. It's like a minute long video.
Okay, what's this now?
I hate I can't get on the screen right now. It was up, but it went down. But anyway, I just was showing how they was coming through our neighborhood spraying. And then once they seen me taping them, because I was right in the middle of the road. You'll see it if I can get on or whatever. But I still want to see that video regardless, even if it don't come on today. Maybe it can get on later on in the week or something like that. But just show them how they be coming through. And of course, you know, they're gonna give you the backstory that they spraying for roaches, I think. Mosquitoes. You know, like when they spray that mess, you know, they ramp up.
Right.
You
That
know,
makes sense.
But after I did that confrontation with them, they slacked up. Like it's been years probably since they done came through this street. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, I want to tell this story so people would know if you see something ain't right, you know it's not right, you need to question it and tape it and tell your news station or something like that. You know what I mean? Because they try to kill us out here. As a matter of fact, that's what and you mentioned it yesterday. That's what the name of the video is. Where the roaches at? It's on YouTube.
Where the roaches at?
Yeah.
So you said what exactly? Tell the audience one more time what exactly you saw. So I don't know if they heard you, if that feedback was kicking in.
Well, it was one of those government trucks, you know, those big white trucks, and they had a big sprayer on the back of it. And they ride through the neighborhood and usually ride at a pretty moderate pace too, and just spraying that stuff out. You know? And I think it ain't to help us.
Right, it's never to help us. It's like they don't care. You know, just like we talked about, they put they let all the mosquitoes go in all them states, man. Millions upon billions of mosquitoes that they've let out, and we're gonna have a mosquito crisis this year. And we also understand that they've been finding that certain technology in the mosquitoes, right? So you think they're gonna run around spraying to kill mosquitoes? Probably not, because that would just totally, like, why would y'all spend millions upon millions of dollars to go through that whole program of creating these mosquitoes that y'all genetically modify, releasing them to the public, and then spraying to kill them? That makes no sense. So
and then another thing I found interesting, kind of going along with what you're saying, I noticed they always did it like after a rain and in the evening, like almost before night. Like I don't know what kind of how that corresponds with it, but you know, it's kind of like along the same line. Sounds like to me. I think it's mosquito food. I think whatever they spray
to feed them, right? To
Yeah.
help them to create a better atmosphere
or whatever, you know.
Right. Which you probably on to them. And I was just talking about this, you know, and I tell people this, like I tell people after you've been watching me for a long time, go back and watch some of my older videos, because stuff that you might not have understood then might be a little more clear to you now, because now you're a little more mature. You've seen a lot more. You start to be able to digest the information, and it's no different from us as we mature as adults and as we mature spiritually and everything else. We're starting to come online to where we understand things and we see things in a different light, like movies and cartoons, video games, but also stuff that's been done to us over the course of our lifetime. You understand what I mean? Like they've been spraying from the skies, but when you was 5-6 years old, you didn't think nothing of it. You know what I'm saying? When you 10, 12 years old, you ain't think nothing of it. You just think, oh, that's jets flying by, you know? And the stuff that they spraying, like even the pesticides and stuff, it starts to make you wonder. But pesticides have been linked to a lot of the homosexuality and stuff, right? And here we are today, and we got a boom in homosexuality. You know what I'm saying? So stuff like that, like you talking about, they riding through neighborhoods and they spraying. It's like, I remember seeing those trucks coming through the neighborhood. I was like, man, they over there spraying. They just spraying that stuff just right through the neighborhood, huh? So it's gonna go through the neighborhood. It ain't gonna affect us, even though we gonna breathe it in. but it's gonna kill all the mosquitoes and stuff, right? That don't make sense. What animal, what insect is gonna be able to survive something that's killing things so small, and we these big creatures, and we breathing a lot of this same stuff in? What is that doing to our system? What is that doing to our immune system? What is it doing to our bodies? What is it doing to our skin? You see what I'm saying? They make a lot of big deal about stuff that we might have by accident or something. Like they put these infomercials up. Oh, if you took this or something back in 1997, then you might have a lawsuit because this stuff does this and this to you. What about the stuff y'all been spraying and stuff? Where's the study on that? What did that do to the people that was ingesting that every time they went outside, after a rain or something, and this stuff is spraying through the air? What happened to them? Did y'all do a study on what kind of effects they have on the body? Probably not, but now that we older, you can look back on a lot of things that took place that we were subjected to, and you could look at it and see that there may have been some kind of connection between that and some of the physical health problems and conditions and mental disturbances that people have had over the course of their lifetime. So I'm glad that you pointed that out, because that's something that actually I was going to speak about before, but I hadn't got around to. We speaking about all this other new stuff, but you got to go back because they've been messing with that stuff. What is going on? All right. You still here with me, brother?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so it's good. It's good you point that out, man. And people need to acknowledge and understand that, man, because like they always talk about how this uptick in cancer, uptick in this and that, but nobody's talking about where it's really come from. They don't know. Like we just talked about yesterday, doctors are baffled. Scientists are baffled. Experts are baffled. But we're gonna keep on spraying this crap in your neighborhood. And we hope y'all survive that, and we ain't gonna study the effects of it. But we're baffled at why you came down with this. We're baffled at why you didn't had to come up here with your son having seizures and crap, right? So yeah, brother. If you can, it would be good. You can get that video to me. I definitely would like to see it.
What I was trying to put it in the chat, but it wouldn't let me.
It's not. Yeah, it probably won't let you put it. Like, just drop it in there. Yeah. Give me your email. I'll shoot your email and get it from you.
Okay. It's NARDO _520 at yahoo.com.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna shoot you an email later on this afternoon. And yeah, if you can give me that video, I'll probably end up playing on the next one. We might go over some of this stuff. We might look in depth of some of the other different atrocities that we might have faced early on that we just didn't know about.
I know you pretty good with the digital stuff and whatnot. What I had wanted to do, I taped it so that it could be focused in on the license plate.
I got you.
You know what I mean? I wasn't able really to. I hadn't been able to figure out how to zoom in on it yet.
Yeah.
Definitely in
well,
the
that's
shot.
cool.
It's definitely in the shot.
Cool. Okay.
And I got, when they came on the block, they were spraying it, and then they seen me in the middle of the road. Then they cut it off for a little bit, and then they went past, and I taped to make sure I got 2 black guys too. Strangely enough, and that's why I called the video. What I call the video? Black on black crime in the hood. Where the roaches at?
Right, it is a crime.
Yeah,
but quiet as
being perpetrated by our own people.
Perpetrated by our own people.
That's how they do though. They get us to, basically, what I mean. I guess the right hand don't know what the left doing.
I mean, you go back as far as the Tuskegee experiment.
Yeah. A lot of these people, they think they're doing good, but you actually helping the, what I mean? You paying for your demise.
You are. And they got that. I mean, it's no different from when people go to the hospital. They go to these doctors and stuff. They've been trained to give people more poison and things, and they don't know. I mean, a lot of times they just don't know. Now, I don't know if that's the case necessarily with these people that run by spraying these chems, these trails up in the sky. I've heard different stories as it relates to them, or some of them not knowing and they sprayed it for years and just never knew. And then I've heard some that knew what they were doing and they got out of it because they knew that they were poisoning the population. So, you know, I don't know if those young brothers had that same intent, you know, when they went out and sprayed the neighborhoods. They might have knew exactly what they was doing. But then again, it's a whole nother layer to this. And that's the part that I hit on that don't know what the truthers really hit on. I'll tell you straight up, they got these folks under mind control. They have they are hosting these folks parasitically. Okay, you have the Vril, okay, that's able to take over somebody's body, somebody's mind. They can do that kind of stuff. Okay, they have the ability to look different. So they show up and do stuff, and you like, oh, that's a regular person doing that. It's not even a person. You know, like it's people that are in position to do the stuff that they want them to do. And then some of them just don't know, but they being ran by these other beings that do know exactly what they have them doing. Okay, and then they controlling the ones that they have doing the stuff. So it's a lot more to it. But yeah, that's a different layer, bring stuff to light. So yeah. So what's your name now, man? I didn't even catch your name.
Brother Burn.
Brother Burn, okay. Because I couldn't tell what it was on the thing. I was like, Brother Burn or Burr, I couldn't tell. But
I'm a big fan, man. I've been watching you for a minute.
Yeah.
Watching you for a minute.
How far?
Whole COVID fiasco started.
Oh yeah. That's good, man. Long-term follower, man. Nothing but love and respect, man. I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate the work you do, sir.
All right. You have a good one, man.
All right, you too. Appreciate it.
All right, later. Okay, that was Brother Burn, guys. Man, guys, he hit something that like we hadn't really discussed. And what I'm gonna end up doing, man, I'm gonna end up going back, man, and digging up some stuff because I've done it before. I showed y'all how they sprayed like the projects in St. Louis, and they did a news special on that back in the day. They ain't tell them folks they was spraying them, man. They did the Tuskegee experiment. They sprayed people in the Vietnam War. They sprayed people. It was another thing they sprayed to try to see. Like they run these tests and they do this stuff to people, and then they in the background they study the effects of them. They don't tell them they did it to them. They just sit back there with their little they pen and pad and notebook, and they just take notes on what kind of behaviors is starting to occur, what kind of like death rate these folks got, how many people coming down with this and that, how many babies are being born stillborn. They go back and they take notes, knowing that they just sprayed or did something in that area, whether they contaminated the water with something, whether they sprayed the air with something, whether they put something in the marketplace. And then they look back and they see what kind of effects it had on that population of people in that particular city or that particular area. Oh, believe it. The local health department, they'll know exactly what's going on. They're not going to tell you that because you the test dummy. You the test subject. Like the billions of people that went and took the walk. They didn't tell them that they was in the experiment, but it don't take a rocket scientist to figure out you in an experiment. But for some of them, it really did. They had to sit there and think about it. And they like just tapping their brain like, if I take this, it has been studied for 2 months, then it's not an experiment, right? The normal protocol is 8 to 10 years, but this is 2 months, but it's still been studied. So it's not an experiment. Actually, it is an experiment because you only studied the first 2 months. The rest of the experiment runs past up to 8, 10, 20 years, which is just, notice how it's just outside the time frame of the time where you expect to start seeing some negative results. You see what I'm saying? And they did that by design. They do stuff and they only study it. Like they run these studies, man, and they only study up to the point where they expect the reaction. That way, it's no reaction. Pay attention, man. That's how they move. If they don't want the real results, then they only study up to a certain point. And then like with dang, it was Judy Mockowitz, man. She had put out a video and she had talked about this specifically. They gave kids something. I want to say it was the Hep B. I want to say it was that. And then they watched them closely for like 2 days or something. And then they say, oh, 2 days up, they good. Go on and we can issue this out to all kids across the world. Right? Not knowing any of the effects that took place. And most of the effects would occur on like day 4, day 5. So real slick, right? Real deceptive. That's how they move, though. You gotta understand, they don't care about you living. It's not about that. See, once you understand that, you understand how they can do nefarious things the way they do, right? Because they just not regular people. Sad to say, but they're not. So either way, man, I think that was gonna be our last segment, man. We was able to get a good piece from the caller, and I don't think we got anybody else in here waiting. So hold on, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, we had Brother Berm, and that was it. So anywho, guys, I'm not gonna make this video any longer. We're gonna do some lives next week. I think people said they appreciate and they enjoy the lives. So we will do them. We likely do some more. Got some other topics I want to hit on. May get the video from him, see exactly what he's talking about. But I already know I've seen this type of action before myself. Some of y'all probably seen, you just never pay no attention. But see, that's when you sleep. You know, now that we are awake to what's happening, like certain things that you never paid attention to before, you're gonna be paying attention to, right? Certain things that was not apparent are gonna become apparent. All right, and that's gonna take you down a rabbit hole. Look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that. All right, being able to link stuff together, connect dots, and being able to recognize certain things, like even in movies and film and stuff like that. Programming. Now, I just turned some of y'all on to the part about frequency, sound, vibration, some stuff you might not know nothing about. Now you're gonna start paying attention to the sounds you hear, right? Like some of the stuff they do. It was a movie back in the day. I played it, man. I used it a couple times. It's called The Time Machine. And in The Time Machine, the guy, he went back in time. Oh, he went to the future. I want to say he went back. I want to say he went to the future. I can't. No. He went back. He went back in time. He went back to a point where they had these different beasts that was living underground, and they would send out like a sound at a certain point, and all of the people would just like walk into these little holes in the ground, and then they would get down there and they would eat them. Right? They would eat everybody. It's kind of like what they're able to do with the music. You know, they're able to control people's minds and people's thoughts and walk them into, you know, danger and stuff, like put them in positions where they can be affected by this. Okay. They were just showing you, they just giving you a glimpse in that movie of kind of how things work. It's like the Pied Piper took all the rats out the city playing the sound, and a certain sound frequency hurts and stuff that affect rats. It's supposed to be able to kill them. Like they can't, just like certain scratches on the chalkboard affect your hearing and stuff. Like certain sounds affect their hearing and stuff too, and affect them as far as mentally and physically, right? So you put that in perspective, man, with how they operate in a whole, far as, you know, the different sounds and stuff that we hear and stuff. Like you got the alerts coming over your phone for these sirens and stuff. That stuff irritating as hell. I don't know, you ever hear that sound go off and it's like an alert telling you somebody been snatched or something, or you got a tornado coming. How do you know that sound or that frequency that they giving out ain't meant to have a whole nother effect on you that you just don't know nothing about? You know what I mean? And you automatically getting that. Because I mean, they using your phone for you know, nefarious things. They put the CV 19 updates on there, right? They making you utilize that, make you get your health cards and stuff on there. So you really just don't know, man. You can't trust them. So I always encourage everybody to be vigilant in looking into things, like be proactive in seeing what things are about. And just like we just talked about all this stuff today, look into it yourself, man. Don't just take my word for it. Look into yourself, do your own research, man. You might come to some conclusions about stuff that you might not have before. Okay. So, guys, it's been good. It's been great, man. I hope everybody's doing well. Like I said, if you haven't, make sure you get over to the Detox Shop, or also get over to the Rumble videos that I put out in the last couple of days, man. Check that information out. Jam-packed with a lot of stuff we talked about, man. So y'all be safe. I will catch you on the next video.
But we had one more important sound we wanted you to hear.
OMG, this beat is bubble yum. I'm chewing on this bubble gum. I'm blowing bubbles coming up. Yep, every day I'm hustling. Trust I got my gun up on my waist just like a cummerbund. Star boys don't mess with second place. We coming number one. Chicks go nuts when we show up. Everywhere they notice us. Pink is blanking, chains hanging, candy paint up on the truck. True religion, action sagging, matching my Ed Hardy chucks. Gucci rag flagging, hanging out of my back pocket tuck. A lot of cats be rapping, yapping, but they not as bad as us. We just leave them flabbergasted while we brag and grab our nuts. We fire like that cannabis, wild like the animals. When we in town, we shut it down. You hear the crowd chanting like